between the genders. That's it.
Mhm.
That's something I'm very interested in. So I would like to have a platform where I have resources, reading, different, psychologists, spiritualists, even
Sorry to
lawyer.
interrupt. Before
That's
getting into practicalities, I think
that's it.
I
That's
make
it.
more
That's
by
it. That's
intention.
sorry. That was my intention. But hopefully it lines up with others. Go ahead.
Totally, totally. Jose Maria, it'd be really nice, even if it's just a brief introduction of what you might, because I think you're a wonderful human being, of course, and you're so connected with yourself. Your wife is bruja, ¿no? Es una practicante
More or less, more or less.
bruja. And she's very connected with the soil, and we are I'm very excited again to connect with you about the Save the Soil movement, because I think it's connected with what we're doing with EU Pro Soil, and we want to do a roadshow around Spain to plot and map all the small plots of land and mini projects that are sprouting everywhere, and we want to connect them together on their platform. And we will create Save the Soil España together, where we'll create a governance body and so on. So I'm looking forward to that. It would be lovely to hear from you, how you might, and a very more intimate relational, level, where we can work together to heal and energize ourselves, so that this creative energy can get like amplified, and we can work together in a more synergetic way, not with ourselves, but with the cosmos, and what is being called for us to do in this moment.
For sure. Thank you very much. This is the idea. It will be my pleasure too. And thanks, Teresa, for this setup of your intentions. In my case, I am still curious about, but the main thing is that since I met Sharam in Sanas, in our association, and I have been listening to him, we have been commenting several times, looking for ways to develop works together. I attended one of your workshops, I remember, there in Triple, and I feel very interested, because my main worry and my intention is that I believe this is why I am founder of this small organization, is that I believe that there should be any alternative possibility of development and economics. I believe I collaborate also with some movements of social and solidarity economy in Europe, and my belief is that I am just a consultant. I develop works on sustainable tourism for different bodies and companies and destinations, but my main feeling and my main intention is that we have to find another way of doing the things. I don't think we are doing the things properly. I work in the sustainable development. I work under this United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I work with many bodies, but I feel like we are doing more or less the same. I don't feel a real change. I feel we are not, as you were mentioning, we are not connecting really with a human being. Everything is going around a lot around the technology, and there is a lot of greenwashing too. There is a lot of kind of looking desperately for visibility. But when I look at the real stuff, when I go to the places and meet the people, I don't feel any change. And this is why I would love to find a way to do the things. And when listening to Sharam and the workshops, I feel that some things are I feel very curious about finding this way, finding the way together, like you were mentioning, co-creating co-creating a synergetic way of doing the things in an alternative way, especially for the development and being very human-centric, so to say, and not depending so much in external factors. And this is why I'm here. So I feel that, especially what I feel today, is more curiosity than anything. And I hope that my small experience in this kind of fields can be useful for in this way to the co-creation of a new way of developing the world. This is the more or less the idea.
Absolutely. I mean, as I hear you speak, I think like with all the experience you have and the knowledge and the wisdom and your the years, of course, count as well. You could be channeling this energy into much more abundant kind of creative processes. And I think all of us have been stuck into the mold of what we were told and what we had to do. And to be honest, what's been available, because we haven't had the time and space to create the new. And I believe that we're being called upon now to move on, and as you say, SDGs and all that, there's a lot of talk. You'll see in COP, of course, they'll be the same old, but even worse, because they're getting dirtier and dirtier as they get closer to the bottom of the barrel, of the oil. And that's where all the muck is, the really dirty oil is right at the bottom of the barrel. And I think that they're there now, with the Saudis and the Dubai and all these sheikhs. So once they get out of the tar, the ruts, hopefully we can also, they will jump on the ship, as they say, and it'll be
I have to say, just
quick
sorry
ship,
to
right?
jump.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, so the thing is that in our group
Can I
as
set my
well,
intention just before you go? Can I set my intention just
oh
before
yeah,
you?
sorry, go ahead.
No, just okay. So I'll do a 2 minute intention. I mean, I'm completely aligned with you, and I think that my personal intention is that I would like to create a space. I mean, I think that this is a core and critical element within what I thought it was time to launch the HumanNation Institute for Unlearning and Regenerative Cultural Transformation for eco-social innovation and transition to a different kind of economy and a different kind of society and different kind of communities and cultures. And I say cultures in the sense that what Sharzad was saying, I don't believe in male, female, or lesbian, or gay, or all these labels. I think we have to connect with the human element and understand that every person at any moment is a diverse representation of any kind of expression that might come through. One day you might want to be with a dog, a cat, or a girl, or boy, or whatever. I mean, these are like, whatever, even if you want to stroke a dog, I mean, that, you know what I mean? It's like, who's there to label us and tell us, how we have to be and who we are. And I think that there is enough abundance and variety and diversity and biodiversity in the world that all these things are nonsense. And we know that through the studies that have been done and our own research, that the patriarchy was the origin of the creation of this rigidity and the hierarchical top-down male dominant kind of labeling and rationalization that then led to the Descartesian method, the scientific method, the limiting us to the laboratory, to the industrial mechanism, to capitalism, to consumption, and the material attachment, the complete coupling of the ego with the material attachment, which created what is now a void in our spirits, in our souls, because everything has been sold, everything has been exploited to the maximum, and everything has become commoditized and mercantilized. So people are now, of course, feeling this void, and we saw, let's say, the most ugly expression of this in the millennial me generation, which Facebook and Elon Musk and all these people like Gates and so on took maximum advantage of, as well as, of course, the whole industrial military complex that lives off the blood and the soul of the men and the women, especially the women and the children, and all the exploitation that goes along with it, the arms trade, the drugs trade, the human trafficking, and so on. So the dark economy that's been created, which is a bigger economy by far, at least twice the size of the let's say the rational economy that we see on the surface, the GDP and all that crap, is that of course it's a bubble, it's a myth, and that's what the Presidency Institute also identifies, these kind of financial bubbles. And we know that that's very much connected to the City of London, the corporates, the kind of like the Anglo-Saxon psychopathic global financial system of extraction, of funneling all those funds to tax havens and so on. So for me, I see the movement that what exactly Shazad was pointing to. What we see in Chile, what we see in all of South America, in Africa, in mostly the South, the global South, that have been the subject of this oppression and extraction over, some 400 years at least, but going back much further, 5,000 years since the origin of patriarchy. So I think that we have a lot of unlearning to do. And what I would like to do is start very small in local, and in Cordoba. I'm in Cordoba now. I'll be buying a plot of land, and I want to create a unlearning school where we will grow food, we will cook, we will build little houses, micro houses with wood, where children from school up to business school students, professionals, public administrations, knowledge institutions, citizens, we can all, and entrepreneurs, of course, co-entrepreneurs, we can all work together to create this. And we have all the models and the frameworks. We have friends who are working on blockchain, on platforms, on, of course, we need the technological part, but I'm totally in agreement with what, Jose said, that Jose Maria said that we are too obsessed with technology, we're tech-centered. We think that 20% maybe of the solution is technological, it's a tool, will support us, but the rest is human, it's cultural and so on. So that's what we're launching here, and for me, this is a very important step in getting there.
Perfect, thank you. Just, Sersat, just 1 minute before you talk, 1 second, is that I realize when Saram talk about Cordoba, I will be there in 15 days, because I am giving a conference, something related to the SDGs in a project called We All.
I will do my best to stay here, because I'm planning to stay here for a month.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No,
I heard.
I will be there. I have to be there in 12th of December. I give a conference in Cordoba, and it's something about and there are project developed by a local NGO, very good friends of mine. It's called We ODS, We SDGs, so to say. And this is kind of they are giving awards to local sustainable entrepreneurs, especially women. And then I will be giving a kind of opening conference or closing conference, something like that. So I will be in the city.
I'm going to be here. I promise you.
I will send you all the information as soon as I get the details.
Yeah, I'll tell you okay, so I'm going to move away, because the thing that I want to do is a little bit not, I'm going to kind of bring it more centered to line up.
You start with your case clinic, Shaza. That's what you're getting.
No, I just wanted to say one thing. So, the SDGs, the way I've understood them now in the past 3 years is that we have to work on the inner development goals. And what happened was, when we moved over to the inner development goals, we realized they're like the 10 commandments of Moses. They're so high level that is really, really difficult, and including sort of what you're saying, Sharon, it's so high level that it's really difficult to know how to break it down so that it becomes tangible. Now, what my other group have been working with, and I really, really recommend this book, and I wanted to bring it into this meeting, which is this book. It's called Hospicing Modernity. It's been written by an indigenous Brazilian woman, and it's about how we give a dignified death to modern systems. And it's got exercises and everything. And I've been working on this for about 6 months now, and I find it amazingly useful. Where I think that this group would become really interesting for me is, and it lacks in my other group, is that whereas this is a very, very important process to look at patriarchy and the deficits of where we are in the world within ourselves, and to be honest about it, where it doesn't line up is with activism. So once we see the real deficits in ourselves, and once we identify them, how do we then put them into use to actually achieve tangible change? So that's something that I would really welcome in this group, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and that's what we talked about. And in fact, I mean, what I presented was a wide framework, but when I narrowed it down to a very local project, talking about 20, 30 people coming together, I think there we're talking about very concrete results, and as you say, action. But as you say, at the core of the action is the learning and the unlearning and the understanding. So I think that's where I see you coming in to set up your, let's say, department, or we wouldn't call it department, but your focus on this topic within the school, the D school. So I think it's a good starting point. So we can set up a co-branded, some kind of a platform, as you say, that where you can work on your project, but we can be linked to our project. So I think, anyway, we look into the details and the things, but it would be really good if you want to present a case, or I can present the case, or Jose Maria, So
yeah, I'm okay because no, I haven't got a case prepared at the moment.
No, neither.
Okay.
Neither do I. What we are doing now is just we are trying to. I just yesterday, for example, I was in a small village in Castilla, in the inner Spain. We are presenting the conclusions of the agenda 2030. We developed this work for the municipality, and trying to involve the people in some local initiatives to become to establish more clean energy, to get a better relationship with the local nature, because, for example, the village is crossed by two main rivers, and they live like not really paying attention to the river. It has been always there. Now we are just making with them a kind of local initiative. It's a small municipality. I think it's around 2,000 inhabitants, something like that. And what we are trying to do under this project is to make them closer to the nature, closer to the traditional handicrafts, these kind of things, because they live mainly on wine, on vineyards and cattle. So most of that, and we are just doing this now. So I came quite inspired for this new work I have to develop in Cordoba in the next months, because I will be also involved in a similar project in the province. And then this is the idea, to find different ways to do the things.
Well, that's excellent. I mean, if we have the 4 helix, with the public administration part that you're more involved in, and we can bring that in as the support, the kind of the governance part of it is wonderful, and of course access to local funding.
Yeah, this is my specialty. So what I am good in that. I am good in getting money from the administration. So this is my.
So Jose Maria, I have one proposal.
Yeah.
I would like to, in April, we have together the April Festival for New European Bauhaus, decentralized event in Cordoba, and then Cadiz, Huelva, and go to Lisbon. Yeah, so we're gonna do a road show. We're gonna finish in Lisbon in a beach party where DJs and fire and dancing, cultural events and so on will be taking place, and music, and food and all that.
Wonderful.
So that's that. But in the pre thing, I would like to, in a village that we know where it is in Cordoba, where we'd like to be based, do a centralized event on this topic that you said, so that we can do a mini festival, a market,
for sure,
present our things under the agenda 2030. Okay.
For sure, I will as soon as I get some more details, because we just started. It's a very new project. The leaders are some of my friends. One is living in Cordoba and is collaborating with another NGO living in Cordoba, established in Cordoba, and I will be kind of a technician supporter in the different things where I have some expertise. We just started with with a small webinar on sustainable tourism 2 weeks ago, and then next week, in 2 weeks, I go there, and then we will establish the way to collaborate. My role will be to, as Sir Sadwell mentioned, to bring the things down, so to make everything tangible. That's the idea. They develop a kind of this a strategic SDGs plan for the province, but now is the time to land it and to make it in something visible and tangible for the local people. And this will be my role to collaborate in that, meaning entrepreneurship, support to, for example, we presented a project together with last year on rural tourism for vulnerable women. So we presented an Erasmus Plus, which was not approved because this year were too many, but we got a good qualification, but we didn't get the money, but we developed a very good job, and so we'll continue presenting it to different fundings, and we'll make it anyhow. So it's just this is this will be my small role in this, in all this stuff, in this case, specific case of Cordoba. No?
Amazing. Wow. Okay. Perfect timing in that case.
Yes.
Okay. So if I may, just to, closing from my side, I can just briefly mention something that I've been through recently, and some experience I had today, but also on a weekly basis, I've been meeting a healer. And it's been really quite amazing, the results, of what I've been seeing and so on. So as a case clinic, I would like to just present that experience. So I've been given an order of alejamiento of distance of 300 meters to my kids and my wife and the house and so on. I've been in court cases. I've been spending 5 days in prison related to this specific topic.
Wow.
I went to court and I've seen a very different side of my wife and her family, a very aggressive, very kind of middle class, Francoist kind of approach to dealing with this, where we originally said that we want to put the kids in the middle and we want everything to be comfortable for them. And I feel that they had a very traumatic experience, seeing me being arrested with handcuffs on the day of the birthday of my little girl. And me going to prison, seeing the state system, the police state system, the judicial system, how it works, how it oppresses young, innocent, little delinquents that do petty crime, and they process them, and the funcionarios. And then, like, why move to Cordoba? The number of police vans today in Madrid, I was going through to get to Atocha, and I was being overtaken by my scooter, the little patinete, by maybe 20 armored police vans, and woo, 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 all that. So when I arrived in Cordoba, I suddenly felt this amazing peace. And I said, oh my God. And I was looking around my shoulder because I was paranoid. So I went into a park and I had a beer on me. I had a smoke. So I was sitting there and I was constantly looking around for police. And I see like everybody's just walking like really nice, the birds, the ducks and all that. And I see like no police inside. So one police car goes by and I go, wee, 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 wee. And I was like, okay, he's going to go and catch some petty thief or whatever, like some local crime. And that was it. Then it was silence. And then suddenly I hear another, woo, woo. I'm like, oh my God, again. And I look and it's like a party bus, one of these party tourist buses. And it's like, people are going, woo, woo, woo. And they're like having a great time. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's much better. So I'm like suddenly realizing that I spent, 15, 16 years in Madrid and under this oppressive regime of the capital, which has always been a right-wing capital, but also my wife, which I thought was alternative, but it turned out over time, more and more, she revealed that she was very conservative. So I was like, oh my God, I've been under this regime, and there's a whole nother world out there, because for me, Cordoba, Andalusia is like the heart of Spain, is the center of the origin of this knowledge, the transformation that led to enlightenment, and that went to Toledo and then went to the rest of Europe. So it's like oh my God, I mean, the amount of culture, energy, history, music, dancing, the singing, and the food and the relationship, the humanness of these people, how nice they are, how much time they put into, saying hi to you or talking. And I'm like, this is another world. And I said, okay, I'm going to stay here because I already knew Cordoba because of Amalia, my girlfriend I met in August, who's a saint and an angel. And I said, okay, this is my home. And the healer said to me, like, you have these blockages on your left hand and so on. And as he was working through the blockages, I was getting flashbacks of when I was 5, my American school being burnt down by the Islamic Republic, revolutionary people that were manipulated by the propaganda. When I was 12, the divorces and the moving to England, the brutal kind of mentality of the Southern English people in terms of racism and calling people, anybody with color, a Pakistani that sells burgers and doner kebabs, and has a corner shop. And and then like the experience of Queen, Freddie Mercury, was very similar. He was a Pakistani, he was an Indian. In fact, he was a Parsi, an Iranian Indian. And, all this came through me, and the experience with all these wealthy Londoners that were so materialistic, competitive, aggressive, blah, blah, blah. And then, all the way through to today. And as I was going through that, I was like getting all this clearance. And he was telling me like he felt that the blockage was here and it was in my armpits. And I said, oh my God, it's amazing you say that because I've never smelled so bad that in the last 2-3 days, I'm like excreting all this stuff from my armpits, but especially from the left side. And in fact, 2 days ago, I was asked by a girl in the cafe, the cafe, waitress, if I could move because somebody had complained. I was like, I honestly can't help it. I don't know what's happening. So I went downstairs in the bathroom and I was washing my armpit with soap. And I came back and it was fine. But I sat back down. They let me. And I said to the girl, I'm really sorry. I shower every day. I'm having some situation here. And
Incredible.
And this person said, I mean, the healer was telling me about this. And then as I felt this, and he was saying, like, I feel like it doesn't go down your arm because I said, what's your secret with healing? Because you're sitting there in Zoom and you close your eyes and you go like this with your head and then you move your hands. And I said, you feel it in your whole body. I mean, I'm quite interested in this work. I would like to learn how you do it, because I feel I have capacity. I can develop it. And he said, no, I just feel it in my head. I get the information and then it just comes out of my hands and I don't feel it in my body. He said, it's just like that. It's very instant, very light. I'm like, yeah. And as I start feeling and I put my hands down, I had my feet on the ground and I start feeling that this thing start flowing down my hand. I held my hands onto the leg of the chair and it was like getting sucked, like almost like getting like earth, like into the ground. And it was like opening up here and so on. And I was getting all these flashbacks. So I was like, oh God, this is like moving, and he said, I'm moving it and so on. Like, I feel like I'm like moving it a bit here and there because there's a blockage. And so the block in my ear got clear because sometimes when I get like buildup of trauma and stuff, I get the blockage here. So I kind of learned that there's a way of moving it and in a more maintenance way, be able to keep working with trauma and not let it accumulate and then turn into disease or bad smell or whatever it might manifest into. So that's been my really quite extraordinary experience today, and I was very happy to experience that, and I'm very grateful to Sharza to introduce me to the healer. So for me, the circles, my personal therapy at the moment, I go every 2 weeks. The healer, and also I put myself back in contact with the families and children of alcoholics groups who do the steps, because my father and my ancestors were all addicts. So I feel that is also going to really help me. But I really feel like since the last time I was in those groups last year, and then I stopped going, I can go back and actually give something back, because I think I'm ready now to also contribute and help others, also. So I'm quite, and in a way, build the community, which is what we're doing, to keep this community. Yeah, so here, maybe we can do the 2-minute silence we didn't do at some point, but please, let's leave a couple of minutes also for reflection or any comments.
Yes, for sure. I don't have something very specific to add, no, but probably in the future when we develop more encounters, but I am totally fine with it.
Yeah, I would love to also, because recently I was recruited by the European Commission as an expert for Green Assist, which is to help SMEs.
I remember that you mentioned that in our last meeting.
So they give you 15,000 euros for 30 days work with an SME. And I said, I have all these senior consultants. And he's like, yeah, bring them on, because I get a really good relationship now with Michael in Brussels. I said, because he was telling me, I will allocate SMEs to you. I said, no, we have loads of SMEs. We don't need allocating SMEs. But we want to use your platform, your framework, your support. And in fact, we can do both ways. Not only I can give you mentors, I can also give you SMEs, and then we can work together to process them. But in fact, I'm going to be double financing, because it's not really double financing, because I'll separate the time. But in reality, all the work we're doing with Futurism, with UPro Soil, with the eco-social platform is completely aligned. So whatever I do with the SMEs is doing the same thing.
Yes, for sure.
I'll introduce you to that program.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I remember I had a look, but I was not. I remember a couple of years ago or 1 year ago, I had a look at this green assist, but I was not accomplishing some of the requirements. I am now working. We are working a lot in this new COSME and Erasmus Plus. We are developing an horizon on tourism and circular economy. We are pretty busy now with European things, but in this case of green assist, I found that there were some conditions I was not covering at that time. So maybe I have to look again. I don't know.
Pretty qualified.
No, but sometimes they are asking for titles or degrees that I don't have. No, so I think it was something related to that, to the diplomas or whatever, because I didn't have a specific diploma.
Also certain that with Michael, direct introduction will be
for sure. I will be glad to.
All right, so we can have
left, isn't it?
Charizard is dropped off, but
okay.
Maybe we can just have a couple of slides to reflect on why we're here and where we're going and what we did today.
Fine. Just let's make a couple of weeks or for reflection, and then whenever you call again the circle, I will be glad to join if I can. Normally, this time of the day normally is fine for me, so not many commitments. So this will be
wonderful.
And as soon as I have the agenda for Cordoba, I will let you know. So maybe we can meet there.
Do that as well. Okay, so we just have a couple of minutes then?
Yes, perfect.
Just having a couple of minutes of silence to reflect on why we're here, what we're going to do today, where we are now, and where we're heading. Okay. come back to the room, the here and now, back to ourselves. Does anybody would like to add anything before we close? So, as we said, having bi-weekly circles, I think makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Actually, yeah, I got thrown out, and I wanted to say something for closing, if possible.
Of course, please.
For sure.
I was welcoming your very, very honest and raw feedback, Sharon, because actually it really helped me, because to be very frank, the stuff that you guys are talking about is so huge. It's absolutely nowhere where I am. I'm very, very micro. I'm very internal. My world that I am exploring is, where is my work? And you lot have got, very, very broad projects. And what I think that is so useful that I heard this story is that I sort of found my role in the group very well, in that really what this story told me, and this book I was telling you about, which I would really, I'll put the link so that you can have a look at it, is that, this writer, her mother is indigenous and her father is German. And a lot of where her work goes and what she talks about, the falling of systems of modernity, is how we have to be honest about the colonial within ourselves, the indigenous within ourselves. And if we want to move away from the UN tick box exercise, and if we want to move away from the kind of critique that we gave at the beginning of the meeting, we have to have, as in the space, a space for honest self-reflection about our contribution to what is going wrong in the world. And it's very easy to see what's wrong if we point the fingers to other people. But if we don't start with ourselves, and the complexity of for instance, in mine and my brother's case, we've got colonial influence from British boarding school. We've got Nazi Aryan influence from our German grandmother, and we've got indigenous colonized experience of being Iranian. So, we've pretty much got the whole world within our system, and every single one of us, if we look at where we are at, have this. And so, maybe some of the stuff that you're planning on doing in Cordoba and with your groups, could be looking at some of these rituals or ways
Absolutely,
to
absolutely. And that's something that I recommend.
Explore the individual within the very, very greater context.
Yeah, I think what you're pointing to is the individual, the indigenous, the ancestral knowledge, and all that we have to bring back. And I think that absolutely, as you say, let's look at the practicalities of the program that you want to build. So I recommend that, something we can do together is do a little outline of your program and what you offer and your personal brand, let's say, and so on. And we can work on that together in the next couple of weeks. And then maybe you can present that as a case clinic.
Fine.
Okay, sorry, we have a call now.
Yep.
Okay.
I have to call Amalia, actually. She just called me.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
It has been a real pleasure to meet you again, Sharon, and to meet you first time, Sarsad. I pronounce well, Sarsad, is okay?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jose. Take
wonderful
care.
day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. It's been a beautiful meeting.
See you
Thank
soon.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.